you guys? My name is Aubrey and this is my channel, and today I want to talk about saving money. Saving money is one of the most important aspects of growing your wealth, but the problem is it's something that many people struggle with. This is something that can be incredibly daunting to somebody that has never saved money before, and more often than not, people don't know where to start, and thus they never actually start doing it. So in this video, I want to break down 3 easy ways that you can start saving money quickly today. All 3 of these ways are easy to start, they don't require you to make a budget, and they will guarantee that you save money relatively quickly. So let's get started. Now with that, let's dig into my very first method for saving money, and this is personally my favorite method for doing this effectively, and that is the bucket method. Now, in short, what this method is the idea of having kind of 3 buckets or however many buckets you'd like, and you deposit money into those buckets each and every month. And those buckets are for different expenses. You may have a bucket for car repairs. You may have a bucket for a vacation. You may have a bucket for buying that nice computer you've been wanting to buy, or you may have a bucket for a house payment, or you just may have a general savings bucket. These are just separate places where you put money in order to ensure that you are saving for these things in an adequate way. Now, whenever I was in high school, I used this method for virtually all of my savings, and I used envelopes instead of buckets. I had a safe in my bedroom, and I had multiple envelopes that I would put the money that I made through my part-time job in. And I remember that I had a savings envelope, I had a car envelope, which was my savings for a car that I wanted to buy, and I also had a miscellaneous expenses envelope. And I've carried on that same strategy today in 2021, and me being now somebody who's in my late 20s. But instead of using envelopes, which is what I did 10 years ago, I now do investment checking and savings accounts. I store my money in different accounts, and that allows for me to easily deposit money into those accounts and then not touch it from then on out. For example, my fiance and I are saving for a relatively large purchase coming up later this year, so we set up an investment account where we are putting all of our money that we are saving for that purchase. We put all of our money that we want to allocate to that purchase in that investment account, and then in a few months or in a year, we will take that money out and we will use that money on this purchase we're wanting to make. But it doesn't have to be an investment account. This is the route that I've chosen because it's the route that works for me. You could choose to set up multiple checking accounts and deposit your money into those different checking accounts to allow for you to save for certain things. You could set up different investment accounts like I've done, or you could simply just have multiple safes sporadically placed around your house and put money into those. Really, the way you go about doing this is irrelevant. The fact is, this method works. And if you set up different segments or different buckets for where you want to save money, it will make it easier for you to save for these things. Because once the money gets out of your main checking account, it is almost out of sight, out of mind at that point, and it is much easier to save if the money isn't staring you in the face. Now, whether you choose to set up actual buckets or if you choose envelopes or checking accounts or an investment account like I've done, the method that you choose is quite honestly irrelevant. But you need to choose what works for you and what is easy for you to get in the habit of doing. Once you have your buckets established, make it a point to deposit money into there each and every month as soon as you get paid. Don't leave money sitting in your checking account, because if it's sitting there, it's very easy to spend. And it's very easy to spend without even really thinking about it. So as soon as you get paid, regardless of what day of the month is, make sure you have enough money to spend on your necessary living expenses, and then however much money you want to save, you need to deposit into those buckets as quickly as possible. This is a great method to use for saving money because it allows for it to exit your bank account quickly. It distributes it across multiple types of savings and multiple types of goals that you may have with your money, and it allows for you to keep track of your savings easily and efficiently. The second method that I want to talk about is the method of depositing your money into a bank account that's very inaccessible. Now, what I mean by this is that whenever you have a bank with a mainstream bank like Chase Bank, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, chances are no matter where you go, you probably pass your bank multiple times. This is part of the reason why you probably chose your bank, because you want it to be accessible whenever you need to access your funds. But the fact is, this is a double-edged sword whenever it comes to saving your money, and it can make it very hard to save if you're somebody that lacks the willpower not to spend your money. So a great way to combat this is to choose a bank that is completely out of the way and to not get a debit card that is linked to that bank. What I would encourage you to do if you're somebody who finds yourself spending your money and not having a whole lot of self-control with your money, I would encourage you to drive out 30 minutes, 45 minutes away from your house and to choose a locally owned small brand bank, one that does not have multiple locations dispersed around your entire city. Go in there, open a savings account. Do not get any sort of card associated with that account. Do not open a checking account with them. Only open that savings account. And then once a month or once a week or however often you need to, go to that bank and deposit money to that bank. Now, this is a really great method because it makes the money hard to access. You can't just whip out a debit card and spend the money on anything you'd like to. You can't just make a transfer on a second's notice. There is more time associated with a savings account that isn't linked to any of your other bank accounts. And this allows for you to save money more easily, and it kind of takes the willpower out of the equation. Similarly to the first point that we discussed earlier, it's important to save that money and deposit that money into your savings account as quickly as you receive it. You don't want excess cash sitting in your checking account any longer than it needs to be. So as soon as you get paid, take out that money and then go deposit it at your locally owned savings account bank. If you do this, it will make it so much easier to save because it takes the temptation out of the equation. This is a very easy method, and it's something that you can implement in just a few steps. And if you're somebody who has found yourself struggling with the willpower to save, this is an awesome alternative option for you. The third method of saving that I have is also one of my favorite methods. Now, this method is one of my favorites because it does multiple things. It fixes the issue of not having enough money or not having enough income to save. It also allows for you to increase your income, and it allows for you to save your money all at the same time. And this method includes getting a side gig, setting up a checking account for that side gig, and then putting all of the money that you make into that checking account and then not touching it at all. Now, this method works for a number of different reasons. Number one is it solves the problem of not having high enough income in order to save. This is a comment that I hear all the time, and I think it's very true. If you're not making enough money to live off of, how do you expect to save money at the end of each month? You simply can't. And the same goes for somebody that's just living paycheck to paycheck. It's very, very difficult to save if you're somebody who's living paycheck to paycheck and you're also simultaneously watching what you're spending. And a great solution to this is by getting a side gig. Get a side gig that's even maybe 5 hours a week or 10 hours a week. It doesn't even have to be full-fledged part-time. It can just be a few hours a week in your free time. Spend your time making some extra money, and then as soon as that money is made, deposit it into a separate checking account, not into your main checking account. The reason why that step is important is because whenever you have a side gig and it goes into your main checking account, it's very easy to lose sight of how much money you've made through that side gig. And it's very easy to spend that money without even realizing it. By depositing it into an entirely separate checking account, it allows for you to keep track of how much money you've been making, and allows for you to more easily save that money, and it allows for you to be motivated by how much money is accumulating rather quickly. You can use this money to help you save for a big purchase. You could use it to help you save for something that you've been wanting to buy. You can use it to help you save for college, for a house, or for a car. There are so many different ways that you could use side gig income to help you save for different things. And this method will really allow for you to do this. It will allow for you to make more money. It will allow for you to save more money, and it will allow for you to stay motivated in saving because you're seeing that savings account grow. This, in my opinion, is like the perfect solution because it mixes my two favorite things: increasing your income and saving money, and this does that incredibly well. With that being said, you guys, I wanted to make this video because I think that saving money is something that is so incredibly important. And more often than not, people talk about how to save money, but it's never really discussed in applicable ways. And it's oftentimes discussed from the perspective of somebody who is making a lot of money and thus they're able to save a lot of money. It's easy to save $10,000 in a short amount of time if you're making $90,000 a year or $100,000 a year. But it is very difficult to save money at all if you're somebody who is living on the poverty line or living paycheck to paycheck or working for minimum wage. And the fact is, these strategies, regardless of your income level, will help you save some money, even if it's not a lot. The fact is, it's not really about the value of the money that you save. Instead, it's about the percentage in relation to your income that you save. You want to keep that ratio as high as possible, and you want to try to save as much as you can in relation to how much you make, in relation to how much it costs you to survive. With that being said, you guys, I would love to hear your thoughts. If you have any questions, if you have any comments, if you have anything to add, make sure to leave a comment down below. And while you guys are at it, make sure to hit the like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that notification bell. And I will see you guys in the next video.